Genie grinding, watch him get rich, huh? Remember when I said I hit a lick, huh? I don't really wanna fuck the bitch, what? Willie went and made another hit, okay, like Prada on my motherfucking kid, huh? Louis on my motherfucking hip, huh? Curry how I dunk, no switch, hey, fucking gonna fuck that bitch, hey, if you ain't gon' fuck with me, you a dumb fuck, put up a hit but feel like one punch, look at my bank and I'm getting dumb rich, and I'm gonna count it up till 100,
Hello world, I am What If Studier, and today we are doing What If Deku was an ice Icemancer. He can move around ice however he wants to, alright? Anyways, we're gonna start off with a world that is less than modern. A world with more fantasy than actual real life. People are still around it, yes, but there are fantasy dragons, different serpents in the sea, and different fairies walking around. In this sort of land, there are two combining forces, two rivaling factions, the Icemancers and the Firebender. They're just basically the Firebenders, alright? I can't even lie. They're just the Firebenders, alright? I could not think of anything else. So basically the Firebenders are always attacking the Icemancers as they want control over the region. The Icemancers, of course, will never let this happen, as if they were to control all regions, well, simply that would be tyrannical rule by them. So on trying to stop them for millions of years, long lines of descendants finally came to a standstill, where an oracle said that one day a child would be born, one to defeat both sides, and he would be born to the Icemancers. The Firebenders, outraged by this, send out their best troops. By this time, it has been millions of years, and the age of fantasy is long gone. However, remnants of itself still proceed in the rest of the world, in the form of quirks and also some magical beasts if you're willing to look for them. The Fire Nation sends out its best on a voyage, and lucky for them, Deku is born into the Icemancer family. And on his first day of training, all the Icemancers, of course, their tradition is to teach their young. Like when they're 5, they're already learning how to craft stuff, how to make stuff out of ice. Now Deku has an interesting predicament here, where he is part of royalty, and royalty is not most made to, fight. They're more of governing. However, he's a much more starry-eyed and very curious young fellow who wants to become, wants to go out in the world and help people. However, they say that they've never been out in the world since, what, almost 2,000 years ago? No one's gone out there except for some crazy people. So Deku proceeds to want to do this anyways, studying hard and becoming one of the best fighters. And he has this affinity, a special affinity to what the Icemancers have taught him. A sort of quirk, if you may. One that has not shown itself in the royal blood for thousands of years. The last test of a guard, which was to touch a ice mountain. It was completely complimentary to him because he's royalty. But, however, he did it anyways. He's just that type of person. It's to touch the icy mountain and mold it to what you can imagine. The Ice Maker's powers are only limited to ice and your imagination. How much ice you have will give you as much as you need, and your imagination will craft that into whatever you're thinking. So, Deku, when he touches the mountain, most kids are unable to move it, unable to change its form. However, on the inside, you can always tell what they're imagining. Whether it takes part of an icy dragon that rampages out through, it always ends up in something. However, when he touches the mountain, nothing happens at the start. The royal family is starting to cower as their son might not even have enough imagination to become a royal guard, which would be shameful, until they realize something. They look around themselves as the whole mountain starts to change. All the ice around them starts to curl and float into the air. It was almost like he was carrying them with pure imagination. His eyes were closed, but his heart, it was wide open. His brain was going everywhere. His thoughts were wild until a hand was put on his shoulder, a relying touch from his mother, telling him that everything's all right. As he opens his eyes, letting the ice mountain fall to the ground with a gigantic ice-shattering thud. He takes his hand away from it, as everybody's quite impressed by this, until they realize that lifting them into the air went past the secret force field. Sort of what Ethiopia had, where the Wonder Woman's island was with the invisible force field. This is the same thing. And now the Fire Nation was on their way. They all prepared their battle stations, but it was not enough. As the capital is now sieged, is now put under siege by the villains. Deku, trying to make his own way out of there, hops on whatever he could find, which was actually a gigantic sea serpent, which everybody thought he would fight in the first place. However, he actually made friends with the sea serpent, a gigantic 20-foot long sea serpent with a mustache and beard. One of a great origin, and he just starts riding it. So everybody's quite impressed by that. However, they cannot be impressed for more than 10 seconds before they're attacked by the Fire Nation. They start burning down the freaking ice capital somehow. They're just red hot with rage. And as he's sailing away on his sea serpent, he sees his mother be killed by the main villain. One that he cannot see fully yet. However, he's of gigantic stature, muscle bones of pure rod steel, and just the fire that would come off of him scorched all the ground around him, no matter what it was, even ice. It was not enough to even hold him. When he saw Deku getting away, his rage burned brightly and scolded the ice under him, sinking him into the ocean. Deku rides away to the first place that he can see as he lands on a beach, not far from the inner city. As he sees the gigantic skyscrapers and all of it, he decides that it's best to just leave the gigantic sea serpent at the beach. So he wishes him away to wish him back later, but for now he'll go on by himself. So he goes into the inner city, seeing all these gigantic, just these technologies, cars, purses, freaking phones. Goddamn, he sees in the sky, he sees the freaking airplane. He's like, what, is that a dragon? Like, straight up, he's just out of it, all right? And in his confusion, he sort of falls down a dark alley, not really knowing what the hell's happening down there. As he sees a bit of ice protruding from it. This must be a secret pathway that some of the people that came out must have taken. Now, to explain this next part, we have to go back a little bit where Fuyumi Todoroki is actually sitting at the dinner table with her father and her brothers, talking business, of course, at the table. She says that's quite rude, as they say that they're talking about the ordained ones, an iceborn that would completely kill all of them. She thinks that they're both exaggerating so much, however, they confirm this. As she's quite stressed out about this, she says, well, whatever, that's your sort of realm. I'm UA, I guess. Being a UA correspondent is not that shameful, alright? It's important business. She's like, yeah, business is all my life is about now, isn't it? As she storms off sort of from the table, from the Todoroki table, her father sitting on his fiery throne. She walks out into the streets, getting rid of her gown and getting on a sort of natural set of clothes that she would wear usually to UA. So she starts on her walk to UA and that she would usually take. However, this time when she, in her blind rage of her rage against her own kind, she sort of falls down a shortcut. And this shortcut takes her into a back alleyway. And you know what that means? She gets attacked by bandits. And that's where Deku comes in. So Deku sees this ice, and he assumes that it might be one of his own. So he dashes in there, seeing that she was being attacked by several villains. he instantly charges in, not like himself at all. He's quite questioning this, himself throwing his sort of cape over his shoulder, and then socks one in the face. He picks up the ice shard that she had shot at one of the guys, taking it out of his shoulder and saying, "Sorry, I need this," as he shapeshifts it into a shield, blocking one attack. Using the shield, he bashes the guy in the face as another one grabs his other arm. She actually slaps that, not slaps, what am I talking about? She actually shoots an ice bullet at this one guy, distracting him long enough for Deku to punch him in the stomach, and then kick him off to the side and make an ice cage out of the ice that they had made during the battle. He asks her if she can do more of that ice making stuff, and she gladly gives him more ice, making a lot of it, and he creates a cage. "Perfect," she says. "By the way, I'm Fuyumi." And he's like, "Oh, I'm Deku. And this is where our two romantics meet," I guess you could say. She says, "That's quite the skill that you got there, kid." So that starts their sort of interaction, I guess. And I think that'll be it for today. Thank you so much for watching, world. And I guess I'll just see you sometime, somewhere. Bye-bye.
Genie grind, I wish I'm getting rich, huh? Remember when I said I hit a lick, huh? I don't really wanna fuck the bitch, what? Willie went and made another hit, okay, like Prada on my motherfucking kid, huh? Louis on my motherfucking hip, huh? Curry how I dunk, no switch, hey, fuck you gonna fuck that bitch, hey, if you ain't gon' fuck with me, you a dumb fuck, put up a hit up, I feel like one punch, look at my bank and I'm getting dumb rich, and I'm gonna count it up till 100,